Welcome back to Lift Your Monday. Yes, we are back for episode 3, and if you're listening, that means you made it through 1 and 2, and you're back, and I truly, truly appreciate you, so thank you very much. Today, you're very lucky, because we have a special guest. His name is Casey Molifua, and we are going to have a great talk about time management and organization when it comes to college, and then even past college, things you can take on to life, and then we'll even dive deeper into that. So it's going to be a fantastic conversation today. I'm very excited for you guys to hear. Pardon me. Again, I just want to reiterate. I had a blank, sorry. I just want to reiterate that I want you guys to follow me on Twitter and Instagram so you guys can keep up with what I'm doing. I'm constantly posting on my Instagram story about the podcast, what I'm going to do next, and I ask you guys all the time. Like today, I asked you guys, do you guys want a podcast on Wednesday or Thursday? So make sure you guys look for that second podcast because it will be coming out either Wednesday or Thursday, and I'll make sure I put that out today while you're listening, what day that's coming out, and that'll be all Q&A. So if you have questions that you want to ask and you want me to answer, put them on our website. The website is qooh.me/liftyourmonday. It'll be on the screen somewhere if you're watching on YouTube, so you can go ahead and click on that. But the website again is qooh.me/liftyourmonday. If you don't know my Twitter, Instagram, my Twitter is Coach Jones_HC, and my Instagram is H_Jones01. Follow. It's how you can follow everything, and you can post what you want to hear. You can have your input. I ask questions all the time. I do polls all the time. So please check those out. Please check out the website. And also, if you're a visual person, stop listening right now and go check out our YouTube. We had our first video last time. I had really good success with it again. So this one's even going to be better because we have an interview, so you get to see that interaction. I'm very excited about that. Today, again, I have to give my shout outs again to Danny Cook. Thank you for helping me. Couldn't do this without her. She comes late at night to help, and truly appreciate it. I have to give one out to, again, Travis Gaga. He understands why. He knows why, so thank you. Guys, today is going to be a great day. I'm so excited. So free. This conversation is going to be phenomenal. And I'll tell you the truth, we actually already recorded this once, but we had a little technical difficulty, so round 2 is going to be even better, I promise that. At the end, we'll do positive vibes, and Casey's actually going to talk about what positive vibes are, because that's where I got it from. He's going to kind of go into that a little bit, and then we'll answer one question from the question website, and it's really good. That's why we're only answering one, so I'm really excited to talk about it. Really hope you guys enjoy it. Stay tuned. This is going to be the best Lift Your Monday yet, guaranteed. Welcome back to Lift Your Monday. I hope you're having a fantastic day. If this is the first thing you're doing today, man, you're doing it right. Lift Your Monday, great way to start right here. And today, you are very lucky because we have Casey Molifua with us today, and I'm very excited about this. I've known Casey for a while, and I look up to this guy. I really do. I've learned a lot from him. More than just talking, I've learned a lot from watching him grow and become who he is today. So I'm very excited for you guys to hear what we're talking about today. And today we're talking about time management, and organization in college. Yeah. And we're not experts. I'm just going to say this now. We are not experts. But what we do have is experience and failures that we can talk to you about. So hopefully you can avoid those. And obviously, it won't always happen, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But first, Casey, tell them a little bit about you. I know a lot of people know you already, but fill them in on some details. Right.
So right now I'm an instructor at Hastings College, part of the physical education and human performance department. I'm alumni here. I graduated in 2015 with my bachelor's in exercise science. Then I did my MAT, same program you're going through right now. I graduated in 2017. Got the opportunity last year to be offered a job here at Hastings, kind of a hybrid position, and working with what is now Studio 200, which was called the Learning Center. I was half-time in the Learning Center, half-time instructor in the Human Performance Physical Education Department. This year, Becky Hammock, my department chair, had more classes for me to teach and asked if I would like to go to full-time. So right now I'm just doing teaching. I'm still working out, or still helping out with the football team on academic study table. I'm still doing a little bit of work with Studio 200 with Emily Dunbar and Dr. Maggie Callahan. So it's fun. Like you said, been growing a lot. Just been going well.
Good. And pardon me today, I have a little bit of a cough, but we'll get through it. And
we're gonna make it.
We'll always make it. It's a great day. Like you said, first of all, I just want to put this in there. Studio 200, if you're at Hastings College and you're a student, utilize Studio 200. That is a great place. There's tons of people in there that want to help you, just from even editing papers to getting tutors to just having conversation.
It's just a nice space.
Yes.
I think it's just in my opinion, I think it's just a nice space where students can go, and it's we're trying to create this culture of help-seeking behavior, and it's like it's okay to ask for help. And I think we'll kind of talk about that today. But like, nobody has. Don't for a second think that people have their stuff figured out. And, we just talked about this before. Is we're not experts. We're not. All I can do is share my experiences, kind of share your experiences, and like the lessons that we've learned from them. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you gotta learn for yourself. But I just think it's a great space. Dr. Callahan and Emily are doing, and their GAs are doing a great job of. I think yesterday at the faculty meeting, she said she had 1,700 like inquiries. They had 700 people check in already this year, which is great. So
that's
pretty
awesome.
cool. Pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Also, time management organization, that's a great place to go just to get help on any of that too. I think a big thing, we're just going to dive right in.
Yeah, you might as well. Let's just get to the good stuff.
A big thing that comes with this, and I think the biggest problem that especially college students face, is they come from high school where everything's structured, right? You have class at this time, and then you just go home or you go to practice.
Right.
When you get to college, you might have a class at 8 a.m. and then one not till 3 o'clock. What do you do with that time in between, And
I think that's like what we kind of learned too is, when we were freshmen in college, my Monday, Wednesday, Friday was 8 a.m. and 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and then 1 p.m. So I had, from 9:50 to 12:50 basically to, what am I doing? I'm going to grab lunch at some point. I probably had weights in the beginning. I got to squeeze a nap in sometime, but those first 4, 5, 6 semesters wasn't very good, And that's part of that learning experience is looking back on it now, like, gosh, I was really terrible at, time management.
No doubt.
Right.
Especially, I think a big thing, too, is nobody's there to really help you right away.
Well, yeah, you don't have, for the most part, mom and dad aren't here down your neck. You got a chemistry paper, you got a chemistry lab report that's due at 10 a.m. tomorrow. You don't have somebody who's constantly looking over your shoulder, kind of keeping you in check, which is, it's kind of both ways. You have that independency, but you have that independency. Like, what are you doing with that time? Mom and dad think you're doing one thing. You're probably doing, taking that nap, getting something, playing Fortnite. You know how
exactly.
it is.
100%.
Got to get a game in every once in a while. But.
And I think that's the hardest thing because we come from high school where you might have been able to wait till last minute, like, the class before, I'm gonna do my homework for the next class. And then I think we bring that to college a little bit sometimes. I know I did, for sure. When I was in high school, I was the get by kind of guy. Like, I was not the best student in high school. And when I came out here, I tried to keep up with that, right? I didn't study that much in college, and I was still able to, pass my tests. Like, I did fine on my tests. But when I came out to college, it was like, I had to study. Yeah, I had to. It was a big reality check, especially for the classes that I wasn't necessarily most interested in. Like, it was hard for me to focus, and then I had to put even more effort in because I couldn't just get by in those classes anymore because there's a difference. I mean, you're going to have your college classes where it's not, but you're going to have your college classes where it's like, if you're not in check and you don't have your time management down and any sort of organization, you're going to fall behind.
I think, and that kind of goes along with, because I know we played football together, when you're juggling a 6 a.m. weight session, with an 8 a.m. class followed by a 9 a.m. class, You know, you got that little time in between, maybe not have class till 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Then you got meetings at 3 p.m. Then you go out, get dressed, go to practice at 4. You know, a little 2-hour practice. It's 6 o'clock. Got to go get something to eat. It's just like when you're a student athlete, especially, those same 24 hours that you get versus what the football team gets right now, is like those same 24 hours are the same 24 hours. Yeah. But when you're a student athlete, it's like having a job. I'm not going to call it a job, but it's like having a job. You have
it is,
and
for
it's
sure.
It's August to August. There is no off season. I was talking to Coach Camara the other day, and he was like, you know, what is an off season? There shouldn't be an off season. You know, it should just be you're always prepping for something. So
yeah, I agree.
I think just being a student athlete it's tough. And no one is here to hold your hand, like you were talking about. Like, you're an 18-year-old kid, and just, what am I doing?
Exactly, and you kind of get thrown out there. And I know for sure, like, I remember, like, coming out for my first day, and I was on my way. I was like, oh, I'll be good. But then, like, I got here, and I was like, oh. Like,
I remember
it's real.
I remember it when, like, it was football, and we just came to football, and it was camp. I'm like, college is easy. I wake up, I go to breakfast with my team, I go to practice with my team, I go to meetings with my team, and I'm like, these first 2 weeks, like, 2 days was tough, like, and that was before all the rules and all that stuff came in.
People don't understand.
The grind was real. But when school started, it was like, oh, that's a reality check. There's something that's a little bit different. I have to go to class now. This isn't just football, you know. So that's kind of
100%.
Kind of a rude awakening.
I think the biggest thing, time management wasn't a big focus for me until, like, I started my internship. So a lot of people don't know, but I interned at Hastings before I became a GA, and what that looked like is I was interning while playing football, while going to school, and while studying for my CSCS. So I was doing all this at the same time. And what my internship is I shadowed every single team. So I started in January. So all J term, that's all I did. So I was there from 5 in the morning to 9 at night for the open hours, because I worked the open hours
quick
too.
After football season, or no, you were still in.
I was still playing,
spring,
so I was still doing the workouts and all that stuff. While that on top, and then I had to do extra stuff for my internship, and I was like, that was the reality check that if
that was like the climax of.
Oh, if I didn't have any sort of time management, which I didn't at the beginning, like, I would have just blew up. I wouldn't have succeeded. I would have completely failed, and I wouldn't be where I'm at now. That forced me to have to figure it out. Like, I never used a planner until that, because it
was that experience you had to learn for yourself. We were talking about it, like, somebody can tell you all the time, like, Hayden, you need to practice good time management. It's gonna come into play sometime in your life, and you're like, yeah, I know. And we were talking about it, like, somebody can tell you that the stove is hot, and somebody can keep telling you the stove is hot, but some part of me just, like, has to touch it for myself, right?
You just gotta find out.
You gotta find out for yourself that, gosh, I'm not good at time management. I better start right now. And I think that's what maybe is that piece of advice that goes like, I still don't have my stuff completely figured out. You know, like, there's stuff that I've had on that, when we get to that checklist, that I've had on there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, I just need to get to it. But that's part of that process, part of that, just that growing, and we'll kind of talk about that, I think, in a second.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest part for me too was going through all that. I think I started to I thought I started to figure it out, but then I hit my ultimate reality check. And for me, that was failing my CSCS. And I failed by 2 points.
So close.
It's a pass-fail, and that was that sucked. Like, I honestly felt like I hit rock bottom. I had thoughts in my head like, maybe this isn't for you, maybe you shouldn't do this. And the first thing I thought about was like, man, I don't think I did everything right. I don't think I studied right. I didn't handle my time right.
You start questioning all those hours that you put in, studying that big old book, like
everything.
What, did I just waste all my time? Is this something I want to pursue? Am I smart enough? Like, you start, all those insecurities start, like, coming back in,
100%. And I started thinking about, like, other jobs that I could go into, and it sucked. But so I got done, and
you found out your score right away.
Yeah, they tell you right away.
Right.
They tell you.
So there's this isn't no ACT 2 week waiting list.
No, they hand you a paper. It either says pass or fail, and the points you have. I literally did not look at it till I got in my car because I had that feeling in my head like that was rough.
Oh, see, I couldn't really do that. I need to know right away. Open that right there.
They handed it to me, folded it up, walked to my car, and I look at it, and I sat in that parking lot for like 10 minutes, just like I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I call my parents, talk to them, and then I call Coach Wells, and this guy, he goes, I tell him, hey, Coach, I failed. I missed by 2 points, and he goes, that's great. Now we get to see who Hayden Jones really is. So my first reaction is, this dude just said it was great, I just failed.
Yeah.
Like, that's my first initial reaction. And I'm like, all right, he's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But then it sunk in, like, okay, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hit rock bottom. Now do I find out?
What you're really made of.
Am I the kind of person who's going to give up and move on to something else? Or am I the kind of person who's going to dig down, figure out where I went wrong, which it wasn't my time management. It was. Like, my studying wasn't where it should have been. And am I going to find out who I really am and who I really want to be? And that was huge.
I think a big thing with that, I completely just spaced.
No, you're good. But I think another thing with that is...
You were talking about failing.
You're good.
You were talking about failing. And in sports, that's what I was trying to think about. In sports, it was easy for us. If the depth chart came out and you didn't see your name where you wanted it to be, that, like, I would see that as a failure. But sports, we were so good at, okay, I know what I need to do. There's a plan. But now you're thinking of something more scholastic, something more, a career path. This is something that it is sports related, but it wasn't always sports, Yeah. And this was like the first time that you maybe really failed big time. Not big time, but like a big failure. And like you said, it was like kind of like that point where it's just like, man, I just hit rock bottom because I just failed. But I think that's kind of cool what Coach Wells said.
And
you get to find out who you really are.
It definitely put me in check. Like it really opened my eyes because I could look at it two ways. I could look at it that this was the end and this wasn't for me, or I could look at that this wasn't what defined me.
Right.
And guys, if you're listening, this is the beautiful thing. E plus R equals O, right? It comes back around and it's amazing. My event was I failed. Now I could have responded and switched, or I could have responded and went on and studied, changed how I studied, changed my time management, talked to people, went and figured out what I needed to do. Look for help, and I did. The outcome, I changed it. I passed by a lot. Like, it wasn't even like I passed by 2 points. I killed the test. And I bet that felt so good. And the best part was, I didn't have that feeling where I grabbed it and went to my car. I looked at it right away because I knew.
Yeah.
Like, I knew I was good.
That was that process.
And I got this, I listened to this podcast of Kobe Bryant. And if you don't know Kobe Bryant, like,
he's the GOAT.
I think the coolest thing about Kobe Bryant...
We could have a whole podcast series about
Kobe Bryant, right? And I think the best thing, when you think about being great, right, you think about greatness, is Kobe Bryant will never be forgotten. Forever. He will never die. When you talk about basketball...
He created his own legacy.
Exactly.
And I think it was... He always talks about failure, and he always talks about his work ethic.
Always. And one of the quotes he says is, losing is exciting. Right? Losing is exciting. Think about that. Losing is exciting. This is Kobe Bryant, one of the best basketball players of all time. And he says, losing is exciting. And he says, it shows you different ways to get better. It points out your weaknesses, and they are exposed. Your weaknesses are exposed, but... there's a beautiful but right here. Beautiful. There's answers there. The answers are there. When you can point out your weaknesses, you can find those weaknesses, right? You can find the answers on how to fix it. If you can truly tap in and be accountable and have that self-reflection that this is where I messed up,
huge.
You can find the answers.
Yeah, so sometimes when I give my question of the day to some of my classes, I like to do maybe once or twice a month, just like a self-reflection, like where am I at in the month. Usually at the very beginning of the month, I'll try to do it at the very end, and then maybe, or in the very middle, and then once again at the end. Just kind of checking in, like where are we at? Where are you achieving the goals that you set for yourself at the beginning of the month? I just think that going back to just like setting goals. I lost it again, bro. I'm sorry. It's just a crazy thing. It's cool. It's to see how much you grow, to see the areas that you need to grow in, and time management. I think when I do those self-reflections, time management is something that I've struggled with for so long, and I finally was just like, you got to do something about it. Yeah. We talk about this, that you versus you.
Yeah.
No one was gonna write a planner for me. No one was gonna make this checklist for me. No one was gonna. I had to like look myself in the mirror and be like, this is an area that you need to grow in. That during that self-reflection process, and saying like, you're not good at this.
So with that, like, did you have like a big reality check? Like, was there a big For me, it was my CSCs.
Right.
So like, did you have something where it was like?
I don't think it was like this one moment in time where I was like, boom, this is it. Like kind of like yours was. I just like really made the choice and was like, you're not very good at this. Accept it. See those weaknesses that Kobe, was talking about. Like, it's one of your weaknesses. Use some of your strengths to beef up that weakness. But I just knew, I was like, this is something that I'm not very good at, and it's something that if I can get 1% better. We talk about the 1% culture all the time. If I could just get a little bit better every single day to day, week to week, year to year, I'll be in the right state of mind. I'll be on that same progression the whole time. So I just think, I like it. It's the weaknesses, the failures. It's almost become addicting, and because you learn so much from failing, and then you go and take the test again, and then you crush it. And that intrinsic feeling just feels so good.
And we've talked about this before, but people will come up to us, or we'll be talking to other student athletes, right? Either ones we're coaching or just teaching even, and they'll be like, "Oh, I had a morning weights, like, I'm not feeling it, like,
Yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, come on, Casey, like, do we have to have class today? I had 5 a.m. weights, and I had an 8 a.m. class. Now I have your class at 9, and it's like, 3 years ago, I was doing those 5:45 workouts when I was still playing. We were on the team. Like, it's hard for me to like feel bad for them because I went through it, guys. I know what it's like to wake up and grind out, one of those long days and still go to class. Like, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But it's hard for me to like, kind of feel bad for them. Like, exactly. I know that they're sore. Like, I can see it in their face. I can see the way they're walking. I can tell that their legs are tired. But it builds. It really does build some character.
Yeah.
It builds some of that grittiness, some of that mental toughness.
And it's like we've gone through that. And it's part of like making the mistakes and realizing that like, I want you to be in class. Like, if you can do class now when you're tired and you're going through this, like,
imagine what it's like when you're not tired.
Exactly.
Or you don't have morning weights.
Exactly. Right. And I think it's very, very important that with that and all the time management, even the stuff we've been talking about, that there's some tips and strategies. But like a big thing, before we even get into those, guys, a big thing is we have a couple. They might work for you, they might not. And I hope you at least try them.
Yeah, even the ones that work for you. I mean, my 25 to 5 rule may not work for you.
Exactly.
I know that we share the checklist. I got that from Michaela. She just always would write stuff down, and Michaela likes to do hers, and like really nice color coded with the boxes are different and they're X'd out. And I actually like borrowed that idea from her. I'm like, and she's always just scratching stuff off. So I'm like, I need to borrow that idea. And I think, I kind of shared that with you, and you're like, I don't know why I'm not doing that. So we kind of share that, but like he said, it's like, all these that work for me are not. It's just like any workout program that you program for the the cheerleading may not work for the softball team, right? It's the same thing, I think.
Yeah, so. And it's even sometimes it can be even more in depth than that. It could be nutrition, right? A diet that works for me might not work for Casey.
Right. Because we have different goals, different
exactly
dreams and stuff.
It's a mentality thing, and it's a physical thing too. Like my mentality might not be the same as Casey's, or might not be the same as yours if you're listening. And that's okay. I'm not trying to change your mentality.
But here's stuff that worked for us.
Yes.
That may, or maybe you can just tweak it a little bit. You know?
Yes.
So
exactly. And because the way I do my checklist is probably not the same way you do yours, and that's fine. There's no right way.
Oh, mine's messy, man. It's so messy.
There's no right way to do time management.
There's doodles all over it. There's scratches. It's notes.
And that's fine. Like that's yours. I have mine.
Right.
Somebody, Michaela has hers, right?
Yeah.
And I guarantee it looks better than most of
It
ours
does.
combined.
I guarantee it does.
But so going into that, right? A first step, right? I think the best thing is the list.
Just write it down.
Yeah.
Write it down. Yeah.
Because you see it and you have it somewhere that you'll see it often. You're reminded of it. Reminded of it. And I think the best part, pardon me, the best part about the list is crossing it off.
Yeah.
Getting it done.
And I think that's another thing that we kind of have in common. We kind of have some little things that we put on there just for like the psychological effect of crossing something off the list. Like one of mine is go to the post office and drop off the post office and get stamps. Another one I have is go to Verizon. It's just silly stuff that's not really silly, but it feels good just to carry that momentum.
And one of them I actually stole from you was read every day, and then you put Monday, Tuesday,
I just put 7 boxes.
Thursday, yep. And then just crossing one of those off is like good. Like I read. It was only 30 minutes, but like I got it done, and actually like I felt good when I was reading. So then Tuesday, I'm like, all right, I can do it again. Sorry for the little cut there. We had to take a little break. Had some technical stuff going on, but it's all good. We got it figured out.
Good to go.
But back to the reading thing, right? If I get it done on Monday, I'm way more likely to do it on Tuesday because I see that I marked that box off, and I saw how easy it was just to read for 30 minutes. I'm gonna get that Tuesday done.
Sometimes not even 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But like one thing that I know I need to get better at is reading every single day. But 10 minutes is better than like some movement is better than no movement, right? 15 minutes of personal like actual enjoyment reading is better than no minutes. So yeah, I like that reading one. And some days it's like I got 5 out of 7. I got 4 out of 7. I got 6. It's a process. It's a process every time.
We talked about like the list ranges. Like I have on there, call my grandma and grandpa, and then I have on there, write my 3-page paper. Like it goes from the ultimate.
I still need to send bracelets, Molifua strong bracelets to Seattle, and I'm sorry, Mark, they're coming. I promise you they're coming. I have them. It's just like.
It's just doing it.
Yeah, it's just doing it, and I think that's part of that reflection. It's like, man, Casey, that's been on the thing for 2 weeks now. You just got to do it. So,
and I think a big thing is too, like when we have those big things on our list, sometimes we can get frustrated and stressed out that we're not getting them done, but we got to remember it's okay, because the cool thing is you have another piece of paper to write your list for the next week, and you can get to it. And if you're having trouble because you have so much stuff going on, set your priorities, right? Maybe list on there even like top priority, medium priority, low priority, maybe just number them off, right? And then go from there. Because a lot of times we'll be like, oh, I need to do this and then this, but I'll work on this. No, focus on one thing. Get one thing done, and then move to the next one.
Yeah, so what I do is I just put like my personal stuff on the left side of the sheet, and then more of like, anything that has to do with the school, like whether it be don't forget to hand back quizzes, don't forget to upload something to Canvas. Like that's always on my right hand side. So like that's just like what works for me. Or like bolding or making the box bigger if it's something that I really, really need to get done by, or if like it's a deadline or for something. So,
definitely.
Yeah.
And then with those big things also, put little like sub lists under those big things that lead to finishing that big thing. So
it's like a plan.
Exactly. It's like it's an outline for it. You and the best part is you build momentum into it. So you start knocking off little things for that big thing. Then boom, you get going. Then you can finally finish it, right? Hit that peak, finish it, get it off your list, and then you have the ultimate satisfaction. Because one, you knocked off 4 things, so you're able to cross 4 things off, and then
you got a
boom,
big thing done. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's huge, especially for the list side, if that's something that you go into. And
write it down.
I'm a firm believer in it. Casey is a firm believer in it.
Write it down. Just write it down somewhere. It doesn't have to be a checklist. It could just be a daily schedule, something.
Right? Sticky note.
Sticky note. Just writing it down. That's where I actually started with sticky notes. Just write it down.
Your smartphone, right? I guarantee you're probably listening to this on a smartphone, right? Use that. You have a whole thing of notes in there, right? It's a free app. Put your notes in there. Keep your list on there.
Talk about Google Calendar. We just talked about that.
Yeah, definitely.
During that break.
Google Calendar. I live and die by Google Calendar now. I have my whole schedule on there every day, from my classes to the teams that are in the weight room. When I schedule meetings with athletes, I have that in there. When I schedule meetings with coaches, when I schedule things for the podcast, everything is in there. And I could not function without that now.
And now you have both. You have the list.
Exactly.
You have your list and your Google Docs. Like, kind of like transitioning into like how one thing works for you and one thing doesn't work for you. So like something that works for me is that 25-to-5 rule. I know, like, knowing myself through self-reflection and through just like getting to know myself better, was I know that after about 45 minutes, 50 minutes, like my brain just starts to shut off. Like when I'm trying to study, when I'm trying to do a lesson plan. So I actually got it from this YouTube. It was a TED Talk that I watched. It's called Study Less, Study Smart. And he talked about this 25-to-5 rule. It's like, just take 25 minutes, put your phone away. Actually put your phone, put it on a shelf, put it, in a cupboard in your desk, and study for 25 minutes. Set a timer on your phone. Say, set a 25-minute timer. Just Amazon or Siri, whatever they have now. Mm-hmm. Dedicate that 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. And I'm not saying that you have to go. Like me, like I like to just stand up, walk to like when I'm in my office, walk to the water fountain, come back, stand up for a second, and then get back to work. But like if I'm gonna try to crunch, 4 hours worth of work and never leave my desk, I just know I'm gonna drive myself, crazy. Mm-hmm. And so something that works for me, 25-to-5, 25 on, 25 off, or 25 on, 5 off, and that 5 minutes can just be just taking a step back and just scrolling through Instagram for 5 minutes, sending a tweet, texting somebody back, calling your girlfriend or your boyfriend, something, just to take a second to hit the reset button and then come right back to it, and it gives you a little bit of time to let some of those things marinate a little bit. So yeah, that's something that works for me. I do music. 5 or 6 songs is about 25 minutes. 1 or 2 songs off is kind of something that like is a nice rule of thumb that I use too. So,
and I think that's huge for might not work for everybody, because I know there's people that can sit down and just bust out an essay in like 2 hours straight
and not move.
Yeah,
right? I just sit in the same library spot. That's what I tried to do when I got here, but that did not work.
Yeah, not at all. I'm the same way, and that's one thing that I'm trying to implement is that 25-5 rule, because I still have homework, still have all the essays, being a graduate assistant, but I'm also programming for my teams, and if you're a coach, you understand properly programming is not something you do in like an hour. It takes time, and sometimes sitting there I just go crazy thinking about maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that, and so those, like, that 5 minutes is perfect to just breathe and relax.
Just relax
for
just a second, man.
Just kind of let go.
Like, what am I getting so worked up for?
Exactly. And another thing that's really helped me, and I learned from you, is the 2-minute rule. So if you want to talk about that, real quick.
So I'm not 100% sure where I got this from. I talked about it in my leadership class, and some of them, I don't know if you're watching a YouTube video, but it just said it was a 2-minute rule. If it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it. So like when you just ate a bowl of Captain Crunch cereal, and instead of just putting it right in the sink, it takes less than 2 minutes to wash off a spoon that has a little bit of milk on it in a bowl with a little bit of milk and maybe sugar in the bottom of it because you put sugar on your cereal. Just to wash it off, put it in the drying rack. You don't even have to dry it off. You can just throw it in the drying rack. Those little things, like we kind of talk about, those little things add up. Taking out the trash. Something that I'm really struggling, that I've struggled with for a while, laundry. Laundry. I think
laundry's
that takes more than 2 minutes. But I know it's like if I don't fold it when it comes out of the dryer, it's sitting in that basket 100%. For a week until it goes into the other basket, which is dirty, so it can get washed again. You know what I'm saying?
I can't count how many times that I've done laundry and I've just got done with it and I set it down and then I sat down And then the next thing I know, I'm just re-washing that because I was like, oh, man,
3
now
days
it's all
later,
wrinkly.
that laundry's still looking right at me. Like, come on, are you gonna fold me? Like, what's going on? And it just sits there, gets all wrinkly.
And I think that just goes with starting.
Yeah,
and that's the first thing, and that's the hardest thing to do is just start. And then we'll talk about it a little bit later. But one thing you talked about between you and me was about a YouTube video you watched about making your bed.
Yeah, I want to say he was like a 4 or 5 star general in the Army or in the Navy, it's somewhere in our armed forces. And he basically started off by just saying, if you want to make a difference in your life, start by making your bed. He said it's a pretty simple task, and maybe that's where the 2-minute rule came from. He said it just starts your day off with just a win. Put a W in the column by just saying. I'm not saying you have to military press your corners and tuck in your sheets all the way under. I'm not saying that it has to be like that because that's not how I do mine. And I don't even do mine every single morning.
Yeah.
But just the satisfaction of. We don't talk about having bad days on Lift Your Monday podcast series.
Never.
But if your day was not as planned, how it was supposed to go, and it was just one of those days,
it's one we call it. It's your day.
Yeah,
it's your day.
Your little. I call them the personal days, right?
Mm-hmm.
You come back to just a made bed. It's just like I did that in the morning, and whatever went on during whatever events went on during the day, and however I responded to them, right?
Yeah.
I get to come back to a made bed, something that I accomplished at the very beginning of this day, and now I get that delayed gratification of coming back to a made bed. Something that, there was just one win that I had of the day. It was just making our bed. So something that I'm trying. I'm not perfect at it every single morning, but it is nice. It is nice just to come home and instead of having my bed sheets everywhere and throwing my backpack on my bed, it's nice to come home to a made bed and just right when if it's been a longer day, just to be able to hop into some comfy clothes and just go lay down and turn on Netflix or something. But it's just small win. For
sure. And I think a big thing with that too is it sets the tone for the day, right? Getting one thing done, like we talked about earlier, it's like a snowball effect. You get that one little thing done, it's like, all right, I got some momentum, I'm gonna keep going, and that's huge because life is about momentum.
It's okay to see that as a win. I think.
For sure. Yeah. Because first of all, you didn't used to do it, so now it's like it's at 1%.
You're growing.
It's getting better, exactly. And I think with that too, it comes with finding, setting the tone for the day is huge, right? If you don't set the tone in the morning, it's Mondays. Oh, Mondays, guys, Mondays. Because when you wake up on a Monday, a lot of us we think, man, it's Monday. No, right? We talk about your juice. BYOJ. Bring your own juice. Right? Nobody can bring your juice for you. Nobody can pump you up like you can pump yourself up. Nobody is going to change your day around like you can change your day around. And when I talk about juice, man, that's different for everybody. We talked about it today. Like, nobody has the same juice. Like, for me...
Be your own human being.
Exactly. Like, for me, my juice is I listen to a couple songs in the morning. It's the same, 2 or 3 songs every morning, but it gets me going. Like, that's all I need. Once I hear those songs, I'm like, all right, I'm ready, I'm locked in, I'm good to go. And the only time I don't need to listen to them is Mondays, because literally, I get so excited for Mondays, I can't explain it. And I guarantee you guys are still thinking, this dude is nuts, he's crazy, but guys, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing when you figure it out, because just finding out why you should love Mondays, episode 1, check it out. But why you should love Mondays is a beautiful thing.
You bring it back. You're starting. We talk about just starting to wash your dishes after they use. Just to start writing things down that you need to get done during the week. It's just that start of the week. Just starting the day off with a win by making your bed. That's it all comes full circle every time.
Definitely. And I challenge you guys, find your juice. What is yours? What can you use just to give you a little pump up in the morning, right? Maybe it's something you put on your mirror right next to your sink, right? You brush your teeth, you read it, right? It's a little quote, maybe a picture.
A mantra.
A
mantra.
Exactly. Put it on your phone, because I guarantee you one of the first things you do when you wake up is look at that cell phone. And I know you do, because I'm just as guilty of it. And maybe it's a picture you put on your phone, or it's a song you put as your alarm, or anything like that. Just a little boost in the morning to just get you going. And it makes a world of difference. A world of difference. With that, you have your juice. But I think one of the biggest steps you can take, one of the biggest steps we can take to make sure we are doing what we're doing is have someone to keep us accountable. And I've talked about having your person. Have someone to keep you accountable. And I know you're big on this.
Yeah, I think I'm huge. Like, I think relationships are the cornerstone of like my teaching philosophy. I think Pat Summitt was the one who said that, you know, they don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. Mm-hmm. And so like relationships is big for me, and like having somebody in my corner, having people that I when I'm having one of, you know, when you're having one of your days, when those people can kind of give you a kick in the butt and just be like, come on, like every other day, you know, you put that expectation on yourself, like you hold yourself accountable. That person is the one who kind of like puts things into gear and just like, come on, you got it, you got it, bro. You know, my people know who they are. But it's good to have a couple people in a different worlds too. Like, it doesn't just have to be the same person for every single part of your life.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's huge. You got to have people who are a little bit like-minded like you, and who are gonna tell you how it is, and not afraid to kind of check you, give you a little, like, hey, this is the truth. You know, the truth hurts sometimes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's sometimes you need that, just that little bit of. And it's not like your boy's like checking you to be mean, right?
No, like, because he would expect the same thing from me if he saw him slacking for, come on, bro. Like,
exactly.
Here, the expectation is this, and you hold yourself accountable 99% of the time. 50% of the time, I'm here to do that other 1% for you, that other 50%, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's, you know, family, friends, coaches, mentors. The list can go on and on and on. Just have somebody that you can go to.
Exactly, and with that, we have to develop, right? Use someone keeping you accountable to help develop our own accountability.
Yeah.
Being self-accountable and knowing when, like, hey, I got to get this in line, right? I got to get this in check.
At some point, there has to be this, like, that clicking moment where it's like, sometimes I have to just look myself in the mirror and just be like, come on, dude, like, you got to do this. So I always see it when I'm doing my weightlifting. No one's gonna squat that bar for me. You know, nobody's gonna get under the bar and do those 5 reps for me. I was just talking to the guy who trains me, one of my good friends, Tanner Paxton. I was like, hey man, like, I appreciate it. Like, my back has gotten so much stronger. I haven't had these pains in a while. He was like, I didn't do anything. He's like, you're the one who's lifting the weight every single time you go in there. And so I just thought that was a quick reminder of just understanding that it is you versus you every single day. And I put that on my Instagram story quite a bit. It's you versus you. Whether that be school, whether that be nutrition, whether that be motivating yourself. Like, at some point, like, you got to realize that sometimes the right people, the right environment can be so much, but no one can make you drink the water. You know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Like, sometimes you just got to tell yourself to drink the water. You got to motivate yourself a little bit.
Definitely, and so motivation's huge, and being able to start and get going is a big thing. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the coolest things from my internship at Texas was Coach McKnight, the head strength coach, was talking to the team, and he pretty much said, like, guys, look at this. Whenever an NFL recruit comes and talks to me, the first thing they ask is, who are your self-starters, right? Who is able to come in, get a workout done by themselves, bring the same amount of energy without you being there? Who can handle their business inside the classroom, outside the classroom, outside of football, in life, without anybody babying them and holding their hand?
Who sets themselves apart from the rest, you know?
Because nobody's going to be there to baby you in life. Nobody's going to be there to hold your hand when the real world comes. And you start to get that taste in college, but are you a self-starter? Can you get yourself going? Who
are you when no one's watching?
Exactly.
You know, we talk about it in sports all the time. I think that relates back into, like, the whole topic of what we're talking about, like, your own time management. It's your time. You got to manage your own time. With sports, like, it's easy to sometimes be a self-starter. It's easy to get myself going, to get to the weight room even 5 minutes early before I'm supposed to be there, to be 20 minutes early so I can get even a little bit extra mobility, get that 0.01% better. Yeah, I think it's easy to do in sports. It's easy to do in the stuff that we all of our primary learning experiences, which was sports for us. It's hard to do it when it's the self-accountability, the time management, the learning how to study the right way, finding out like how you operate. It's tough, but at some point, like I was just saying, like it's got to kick.
Exactly. You got to find what your juice is, because you have to have something that kind of gets you going, right? Mm-hmm. Just a little thing, even. I mean, maybe it's you just talk to someone, right? Talk to somebody keeps you in check. But man, just start. Whatever you're trying to do, just start. Because I think
it's the hardest part.
Oh, no doubt.
It's the hardest part.
Hardest thing to do is just start anything.
And even like when you do start something, you got that momentum and it stops. Starting back up, it takes just as much energy, so that you might as well keep this ball rolling.
And I think that relates to everything, guys. Like, it's more than just starting. Like, it goes to starting laundry, like we talked about, right? Just starting your laundry is hard. Just starting to cook dinner instead of going to get it, right?
Yeah.
Just starting it, right? Cooking dinner is sometimes not even that hard, but it's starting it.
Just like the effect of like, man, I just got to do this. I just have to do it.
And I think my perfect example for that is starting an essay. For me, that's one of the hardest things, because I'll sit at a computer and just think about, like, I have no idea how to just start this paper. Once I get going, I'm good. But for me, it's starting, getting that first sentence down. I'll write something and erase it like 10 times because I just can't figure out how to start, and it's the hardest thing for me.
It's sometimes like, I don't know. I don't have a composition degree or a rhetoric degree, so but I think the introduction is one of the hardest parts to write. I think that's why I never even wrote I would write the introduction last, so I would just put like my main ideas out there and just be like, okay, I'm gonna rewrap this up into an introduction. Anyways, the introduction is so hard to start.
I think why is because it sets the tone. It sets the tone for what you're about to read.
And you're trying to make it perfect. You're trying to make this right.
Exactly, and I think the big thing is with anything like that is we're scared to fail. We're absolutely scared to fail, and everybody has that fear of just failing. And guys, like, when you fail, the most beautiful thing is the success after failure. Like, you'll have your successes where you just have them, but it's not as good as succeeding after you fail.
Right.
It's a different feeling. It's a beautiful feeling.
And failure doesn't have to be failing the CSCS. It doesn't have to be this big catastrophic thing. Like, we were just talking about that when we had the little technical. I was like, I can't believe I stuttered and completely lost my train of thought. Like, that's a failure. But it's like when I was walking to go refill my water bottle, I'm like, that's just part of it. Like, I'm not. This is the first time I've ever done a podcast. This is the first time I've ever done something like this. Why did I ever think that was going to go perfect? The first time I stepped on the football field, I wasn't going to be Walter Payton. You know,
no doubt.
There's failures there, and I accept that. I self-reflected when I went to the water, and I was like, who cares?
No, and you're talking about the podcast. I still fail on this podcast. I said the wrong website the first time I did this podcast. I said my Twitter wrong for the first time. It
happens.
And you can't. The thing is, you can't dwell on it either. That's if you dwell, it just sinks in. And that's
where that snowball can almost go the opposite way.
Exactly. And so it starts to melt. Where it starts to melt.
Right.
There we go. But with that, the fear of failure, a big thing in our 1% culture in the weight room is we have a branch off that says it's not being fearless, it's to fear less. A lot of times you hear coaches say, we gotta be fearless, we gotta be a fearless team. No. We just have to fear less. You'll never be fearless. You'll never be fearless. You'll always have some sort of fear in your heart, in your mind, whatever it is.
Insecurities, whether that whatever.
Exactly.
There's a little bit of that.
But if we can train ourselves to just fear a little bit less, right? And it's not just being completely stone and rock hard. It's fearing less and taking the dive, right? Being vulnerable and taking the chance to jump in and try something.
That's fearing less.
Yeah, it's not being fearless.
It's fearing less.
Because you're still going to be scared. You're still going to be I'm not sure. Right. I might fail. But it's being okay with that. It's not fearing it. It's fearing less. And whatever comes out of it, how are you going to respond?
E plus R equals O.
E plus R equals O, guys. I don't know if you know, guys. It's a circle.
That's your thing. That's your mantra. Like that is your mantra. E plus R equals O.
And I talked about it in episode 2. I literally live my life by this because you can look at it and it all comes back around. Everything about life comes back around. It's completely a circle. Life is all about circles. If you ever talk to Lisa Smith, man,
Circle book. She wrote a book about circles.
Literally about circles.
Now go check it out.
Think about it, guys. You fail. No matter what, it's going to be a circle. You're either going to change your path or you're going to come around and succeed. And then you're going to fail again. And you're going to succeed. It all comes around. All comes around. You always can just respond and then you have your outcome. Case.
What's up? Positive vibes? Are we going to it?
Before we get to that, I just got to say thank you for being here.
Oh, absolutely.
I really appreciate that. I think
this was uncomfortable for me a little bit. When you asked me, I was like, oh, I'll do it. And then it like became real, and I was like, dang, like I'm actually going to do this. It made me a little bit uncomfortable because I've never done anything like this. But I preach to my students all the time, like, start becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it's like I need to do that same thing. So, yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me out here.
It was good. Yeah. I think, guys, I really hope you guys got something out of this too. The tips, like we said, it doesn't
work for anybody.
Exactly. Yeah. You might not like even one tip we put on there. Hopefully you just got some good things out of it about, failure, right? Being okay with failure. Just knowing that it doesn't matter how you fail. It doesn't matter when you fail. It matters how you respond. So, that being said, normally I'll do the conclusion separate, but today we're going to do the conclusion together. We're going to hit our positive vibes. We did the positive vibes last time, and where I get the positive vibes from is Casey Molifua. We did it in his class, so in a sec we'll get to that. But at the end we'll answer a question, like I said, and guys, this is a really, really good question. So Case, I'll let you start off with the positive vibe today.
Yeah, kind of just a quick backstory of why I do positive vibes. I just think, one, why not? I asked my students to give me a little bit of feedback today. I was like, what's one question that you want to, like, ask me any question about my college experience, about life. One of the questions was, why are you so positive? Like, or how do you stay so positive? And I just say, I just make a choice. I surround myself with it. I encourage it. At first, it feels a little bit like, why are we doing this? But every single day, at the very end of class, before they leave my class, that everybody says one positive thing. Because it's just, in this society sometimes, and we are the society, I'm not, whatever, there's just so much negativity that we see on Instagram, on news, on whatever, and just conversations. Like, if this is just one thing, like, always try to find that one good. Like, that's one of my mantras, is find the good. Leave with one thing. Give me one piece of, of good vibes, some good energy that's just positive, that you can leave with. So my go-to positive vibe that I always is my go-to is just be yourself. I think don't be anybody that you're not, and don't be afraid to be yourself. I think that was where I saw maybe that was my big reality check, was when I really looked deep down and I was just like, I get to just be myself. Like, I don't have to be anybody that I'm not. So my positive vibe is be yourself, authenticate yourself, and if you love who you see in the mirror, I think that's pretty cool. So, like, be yourself, always be yourself.
Definitely.
Yep.
And before I get to mine, I just want to talk about what he was saying at the beginning about how the positive vibes and the energy that comes with it, guys. Energy is contagious. Positive energy is contagious.
So is negative contagious.
100%. Negativity is the most contagious thing in the world. And if you are not bringing positive energy to your team, to your job, to your students, right? If you are not bringing positive energy to your classroom, whatever it is,
man. It's cancerous.
Exactly. If you're not bringing the positive energy, you're bringing negative energy, right? You're sucking the positive energy away. You're taking positive energy away if you're in the negative energy. Right, if we have more negative energy than positive energy,
right,
it doesn't work.
Simple.
It doesn't work. Exactly. So my positive vibe is, guys, I woke up this morning, and if you're listening, you woke up this morning. I don't know how much better it can get than that.
Happy Monday.
Hey, lift your Monday, man. Lift your Monday, guys.
Monday.
It's, and the title, I want to get to the title real quick, right? Yeah, I lift, I work out, I'm a coach. I love it, but it's about uplifting your Monday. Uplifting your Monday, right? The positive energy. If you don't have your juice, use this. You woke up this morning. what more juice do you need than that, right? Because you know what? Somebody didn't. Somebody didn't wake up. And it sucks, but it's reality.
It's a cold hard truth.
It is. And you get another 24 hours to take advantage of that. So if I can leave you with that, man, honestly, it gives me chills just thinking about it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I hear that one a lot too. I woke up this morning, so it's just cool to hear.
Yeah,
it's that gratitude.
So to end, we're only guys, pardon me. We're only gonna do one question today, because I think this is a big question, and it is being a person with anxiety. I'm really curious on how to walk into a workout with it and try to overcome it within your workout. I think I'm really, really happy whoever put this on. Thank you very much. Thank you for having the courage to put this on. And I know it's anonymous, but still taking that step.
Great step.
To put it on is huge. And
helps seeking behavior.
Exactly. And the first thing I would say is if you're a student athlete, right, you probably work out with a coach. Have an open conversation with that coach. And it's hard. It's a hard step to take. But if you work with me, you work with Coach Agaga or Coach Wells, I guarantee you we're here to help you. I know we are. I am. I know Coach Agaga is, and I know Coach Wells is, because that is our culture. It's about helping others. And we want to help you succeed and be successful. And we will do absolutely everything we can. And when we know that that is something you deal with or something you're going through, we want to help you with that. So anything we can do for you, just talk to us, guys. We're here for you. And I know Casey knows a little bit more about it, but the mental health side of things on campus is getting so much better too. It's not something to ever look down upon or think there's something wrong, because there's not, guys. This is a very, very important thing. It's okay to not be okay. It is very okay to not be okay. Everybody has their days. And
asking for help is that kind of like that first step. If I can, I think it just, with somebody who's dealing with something like this and is battling with something like this, I think what we kind of talked about is having somebody to talk to. Maybe it might not be a coach. You know, maybe this is something that's very personal, and like going to a coach isn't. I think the amount of resources we have on this campus, I think just starting with a professor, a staff member, somebody on the engagement team, somebody in Studio 200 that you just have a little bit of relatedness to, and that you feel very comfortable and you feel safe if you were to open up and say something. Find that person. I think that's crucial. Just being able to, just like how just asking the question in general, being able to take that first step of just saying, listen, this is something that it's been kind of on my mind. You're somebody that I trust. Boom, 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 boom. X, Y, and Z. But like you said, man, that takes so much courage just to ask the question, even anonymously.
Huge.
To ask the question. That's really cool. I think there's plenty of people on campus. If this is a Hastings College student who asked this question, I think we have plenty of people on campus who are willing just to be a listening ear if that's something.
Yeah, and talking about that, the first person, guys, that I would get in contact with if I was you is shoot Lisa Smith an email. She is the leader in this on campus right now, and she is amazing. She listens and she hears you, and she is always there for you. And I know people who have gone and talked to her. I mean, and that's
what I did. That was the person that I went to, and Lisa's held it down for me quite a bit. And now it's cool being like not on her side, but like working side by side with her, and just seeing it firsthand. It's awesome. She does awesome work. Her whole team does awesome work. The whole student engagement team, it's special. Something really special, and I think it's going in the right direction too. So it's Definitely. Really cool.
And kind of to end this up, if you're going through anything like this, just remember there's nothing wrong. And it's okay to not be okay. And this is beyond me being a coach, Casey being a teacher. If you need anything, you can always contact either of us.
Absolutely.
You can find us on our email, find us on campus, whatever you need to do. We're here just to talk as human beings. So if you need anything at all, please reach out to us.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we're both human beings, you know?
100%.
Without the titles, without anything, without certifications, without all of that. Like, at the end of the day, we're both human beings. Just like the people who are listening to this, like, we all go through things. And I think that's part of that journey is the saying is misery's company. Like, we all go through something, but no one really knows unless you say something. Like, no one really knows your story unless you are willing to, you know, let somebody open that up.
Exactly.
So I just think that's really cool. And yeah, like you said, I'm an email away. My office doors are I'm always in the PHP lobby. I like hanging out down there. It's where, you know, I see a lot of my students. But find somebody
definitely
that you feel comfortable with. So yeah,
guys, I hope you enjoyed the day. This is great. Now, the best part, guys. This is the first step, and I'm glad Casey was my first guest because he set the tone. And guys, can only
go up, man.
Can only go up. And I have great news because next week we'll have another guest. And I know Casey can attest to this. Jake Hamburger, GA at Oregon, right? Works with the men's basketball team at Oregon, one of the top teams in the nation, is going to be here with us. He won't be here, but he'll be here on phone. So be looking out for that because that's going to be a hell of a conversation.
Awesome.
Deep stuff, guys. It's so good.
You can get lost with a conversation for like 2 hours with Jake. And it's like, bro, I got to go, man.
I got stuff to do.
So Jake is definitely one of those guys. He's one of those guys for me too. So yeah, that'd be really cool.
Right. Take this, guys. Use it, and do not forget to lift your Monday. Have a great freaking Monday.